are quite openly Jewish. This is a pro-Palestinian march. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I'm worried about the reaction to your presence.
For months, we've been told that when anti-Israel protests course through London, it's perfectly safe for Jews. Notwithstanding the anti-Semitic placards, the genocidal slogans, the glorification of Hamas, the Islamist flags, the swastikas, notwithstanding all of that, it's still safe to be openly Jewish on the streets of London during these anti-Israel protests. That's what we're told. And yet, that's not true in practice. I know because on Saturday, I did what I normally do. I went to synagogue, and then afterwards, I met up with some people to just go on a walkabout around London. Just over 6 months ago, there would have been nothing controversial about Jews walking around London on a Saturday. And the only thing that even marked us out as being Jewish was that I was wearing a kippah on my head, and I was carrying a small burgundy bag with Stars of David on, which I put my prayer shawl into after synagogue. And we were not wearing anything like stickers or badges. We didn't have placards or signs. We weren't chanting slogans or engaging with protesters. We weren't part of any kind of protest or counter-protest. We were just walking wherever we wanted to as Jews, as free Londoners, supposedly able to go wherever we wanted to. Except we weren't able to go wherever we wanted to. On Aldwych, we were suddenly pulled aside by a police officer who said that our very presence could antagonize crowds and even lead to us being attacked.
If I could ask you to stay there, please. Thank you very much. I know, I have heard you.
I don't want to stay here, I want to leave.
Well, in that case, sir,
And I'm going that way.
when the crowd is gone, I will happily escort you out.
I'm going to walk. No, I don't think that. There's no reason.
No, sir. I don't want anybody antagonising anything. Yeah, and at the moment, sir, you are quite openly Jewish. This is a pro-Palestinian march. I'm not accusing you of anything, but I'm worried about the reaction to your presence.
I spoke to, or was spoken to, by various different police officers, but I want to be very, very clear. This is not about the individual frontline officers that I spoke to on Saturday. I might disagree with some of their decisions, but these people, these officers, are being put in impossible positions. Week in, week out, they're being asked to police huge protests with very few officers, where there's all sorts of criminality on display, from racism to glorification of terrorism and even violence, some of that violence directed against the officers themselves. And so this is a very difficult situation for them as well. Some of the police officers that I spoke to were very sympathetic towards the situation of Jews in London and Britain right now. And to be honest, I feel very sympathetic towards frontline police officers and the situation that they are facing when they're told to police these marches.
Why is there no crowd of police around here?
No one attacks you or anyone else.
I know that too, but your other here has told me that because I'm Jewish, it's antagonistic to the crowd, it's dangerous.
I'm not saying that.
But he's just said that. I mean, do you have any idea what it's like being a Jew in London at the moment?
No, I have no idea.
Let me tell you, this goes on every Saturday. You probably know it, your colleagues know it. You guys are on the front line. And the route changes every single week. You never have any idea where it's going to be. Because you're Jewish in London, you now have to cross huge groups of people. It's intimidating enough. And now, look at the number of police that are around here. Just look around. I'm just a Jew in London trying to cross the road. I've been told by the Met that these are completely safe for Jews, so I should have nothing to worry about. And yet here I find myself in this bubble. This guy has just been shouting at me and shoving me because I want to cross the road.
Because these frontline police officers are being put in impossible situations, they're having to make up the Met's policy on the hoof. Whereas Sir Mark Rowley, the Commissioner of the Met, tours news studios and tells us that he is going to, quote, ruthlessly enforce to the letter of the law, the reality is that the Met's real policy is quite different, as I found out on Saturday. What really happens is that if you are Jewish and in the vicinity of a march which you're not part of, then the Met's officers will enact a different policy.
There's a unit of people here now, and you're being escorted out of this area so you can go about your business, go where you like freely, or if you choose to remain here because you are causing a breach of peace with all these other people, you will be arrested. Then we discuss this
remain here, you will arrest them.
Because your presence here is antagonising a large group of people and we can't deal with all of them if they attack you or because your presence is antagonising them.
Not everybody on the march had a problem with us, but apparently there were lots of people who clearly did.
Tactic.
Before you get arrested.
Watching your movement. That's right.
Officer, this man's saying that he's going to start following me around watching my movement.
That's right. We're all going to watch your movement and record you.
We're here.
Wait. No, the police ain't going to help you in this scenario. They ain't got no law.
The result is that after months of being gaslit by the Met, it's not safe for Jews to be walking in the presence of these protests. And was there anything so crazy about what we were trying to do, just walking around our home city on a Saturday? Is this something that we're willing to accept? That now the police have to keep Jews away? We mustn't accept it. Britain is rightly proud of its values of tolerance and decency. And we cannot, as a society, accept that this is now going to be the norm. The obvious answer would be for the Metropolitan Police Service to use its existing powers under the Public Order Act, either to curtail these marches or to ban them altogether. But that's not something that the frontline officers that we met could do. That's something that has to come from Sir Mark Rowley himself. And if he's not willing to use his powers, then he has to be held to account by the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, and the Home Secretary, James Cleverly. Because it has been 6 months now, 6 months, where every single weekend we have to witness the streets of London awash with people, many of whom seem to have no problem at all declaring their full-throated support for Hamas, waving around anti-Semitic placards, calling for jihad, showing swastikas, waving anti-Semitic flags. It's enough. Enough. And so I'm asking you to join us, whether you're Jewish or not. The next march is on April 27th. It's a Saturday. Take a walk with us, the Jewish community, and show that we are not going to be put in a box or told where to go by the Met, that if these marches are truly safe, then we will walk wherever we want as Londoners who are free in our home city. And if we want to wear a kippah, that is exactly what we will do. And for those of you who want to walk together, we're going to suggest a meeting point, and we'll post that meeting point up and the time and the location on Friday 26th so that everyone sees it the day before. But feel free to meet and gather wherever you want. Let's force the Metropolitan Police Service to make London actually safe.